Lovely to be with you. Thanks for coming early. My little brother Luke, everyone, decided to join us.
Thank you very much.
Can we move up a bit? Is that okay? Can we move? I don't want to get too far out in front of you guys, but
We'll make room.
I'll tell you this: we've been in a lot of planes, we've been in a lot of hotel rooms, we've been in a lot of shuttle buses, and sometimes you can feel like it's hard to find a moment to connect with you guys, and that's what this is. So we're really excited to take a few minutes together and get to know you and you are so far away with those questions, and Chico get to as many as he can.
Asks, how do ideas form for video clips, and where was Burn the Ships filmed? I'm assuming you're talking about the music videos, right?
Music videos, is that what you're saying? Yeah. How do we make them? Yeah. Well, the hope is that they're interesting, so I'm glad you think they're interesting. So our older brother Ben is a filmmaker, and so we've been able to work on a lot of music videos with him, and in some cases, you know, Joel's much the same. We all just get together and you just start debating these ideas of like, oh, you know, so for Burn the Ships, it was filmed just outside of Seattle, up in Washington State in the States. And there was just something about, well, Burn the Ships kind of made sense. It was like, you know, if we're going to have a song called Burn the Ships and we're making it about a rocket, we're probably doing something pretty stupid, you know what I'm saying? We needed to be on a ship, and at the end of the movie or the music video, the ship needed to burn, all right? You know, so that one was a little bit more, you know, on the nose, but the beauty in the setting and all of those types of things, that's just kind of a team of people, you know, you get together and you kind of hash out different, you know, thoughts and ideas. That boat that we blew up was actually the Pirates of the Caribbean interceptor boat, if you can believe it or not.
It's now at the bottom of the Seattle
harbor. Yeah. They nervously laugh because they don't believe us, but that's okay. So then you've got other ones like, you know, Amen, where it's a little bit more interesting on the salt flats of Utah, and that was kind of meant to, you know, visually tell a story about baptism to a degree, and in a kind of a unique way. And so yeah, I mean, the list goes on. But I think if we don't come up with an idea that's interesting, we just won't make a music video for it. You know, because art needs to be that good. It needs to demonstrate, you know, hopefully if we're in love with the creator and our creativity isn't any good, that's a pretty poor thing, right? So in some cases, it's like if the ideas aren't there, we just won't make one, you know. So.
Sarah asks, what is your favorite collaboration so far, and who would you still love to collaborate with?
Well, there was a new and upcoming artist a couple of years ago that we thought we just really wanted to give her a shot at the whole thing, named Dolly Parton. We were like, she's really made a name for herself, you know? No, that was one of the great, if not the great, you know, honor and collaboration of our time as musicians. You know, you've got this woman who's been in the industry for 50 years and overcome so much and written some of the most defining songs in the world, you know, on the other side of the phone line going, yeah, I think this is a great song and I'd love to sing it with you, and we should perform it on television and do a music video. And you know what's so cool? She was just as advertised, and she followed through on all those things. And so one of the great compliments of our time as musicians, like I said. As far as who we'd hope to collaborate with, I've kind of got a list, and I've asked this chap twice now, and he's affectionately turned us down twice. But I have got a reply, and that's Bono from U2. And so I'll read you one of his replies. We were asking him to collaborate as part of our album, What Are We Waiting For? And so he said this in reply. This was the first time we got let down. He said, I really love this, and I wish I could answer the question, what are we waiting for, with the reply, nothing, let's get to it. But I can't for a whole host of reasons, which one day I would love to explain to the band, as they have a very special feeling about them, around them, and within them. But I can't go there right now. Please thank them for thinking of me. I'm a fan.
Ooh. Rejection never felt so good, folks.
What AFL club do you support?
Here's the deal, guys. I left when I was very young, and I'm a cricket follower. Alright, so I watch the cricket, and I still, like, I'll get online, I'll watch the cricket, but AFL I just never really, we didn't play it in our household.
the Adelaide AFL team, of course.
Which, by the way, you say it like that, they're like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
Both of them, of course.
You need the power, right?
So anyway, when we left, we didn't grow up playing, Aussie rules. So, cricket was what we were much more into. And so, I still to this day will, find out the right time. And, if I pay for some sort of subscription from India, I'm sure I can watch the cricket at any hour of any day. And so I still follow up quite a lot on that, but not the AFL. I would love to say that I'm really big into the whatever, but I'm just not. So
to add insult to injury, he's actually a really big fan of the NFL.
Yeah, I like the NFL,
which is sort of the pansy American version where they put the pads on and everything.
Yeah, they might be that.
Don't send that over to America. Let's just leave that here.
Asked, did you enjoy doing You're the Voice?
Well, way to go ruin a good story,
Can I give you a spoiler alert? We might play it tonight for you. Which would be if we play it for you tonight, will only be the third time that we've ever played it for an audience. So we make the decision based on, no, we're going to play it. But it's actually been really. That song has been defining for us, obviously, since we were kids. And then our sister Rebecca James did a version of it, and we loved performing it with her. And then we'll share more about this later. We've been working on this film, Unsung Hero, and we did an Inspired by soundtrack. So we naturally added it to that soundtrack and just had a blast, really did. And so the guys are actually working it up a bit more this afternoon, and I hope you're proud of it, because I feel like it toes the line of like being honoring, to the Farnham version, but still sort of bringing it into 2024, so hope you enjoy it. Yes. Did we what? We haven't had one.
How can you not like a vanilla slice?
We love vanilla slices, but we haven't had one.
I've had one. I've had one. Yeah. It wasn't the greatest one I've ever had, but I had one.
That's the thing about vanilla slices. There are good ones and there are bad ones, aren't there?
Just like sausage rolls, there are good ones and there are less good.
Yeah.
What is the hardest part about creating an album?
Creating an album.
I mean, there's this interesting, whenever we start a record, actually Joel and I were talking about this a little bit on the plane today, there is a little bit of an intimidating process, because you want the art to be amazing, but you can never make art because you want it to be amazing. You can't start that way. You have to actually start with what becomes real, vulnerable, honest. And so in some cases, starting a new album is actually incredibly intimidating. And we do try not to listen to this too much, but you've also got, record labels and business folks that want your, the albums to be bigger than the previous one and all of those types of things. And in some cases, it's an impossible situation, because at some point you're going to create something that isn't quite.
Hey, can I have a pair of those as well? You got some for me? Okay.
Some earplugs?
Oh, you hero! Thank you so much. Yep, I'll take two.
This is for you sleeping tonight, isn't it?
This is for me sleeping tonight. Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing
in advance?
Anyway, so just making sure that you have something to say, I think, is probably, and I think there is always things obviously to talk about and to say, but I think that you just have to remember that when you start something, that you're risking something. Anytime you start any new dream, any new idea, you're risking something. And anytime you're starting something, those new ideas are very fragile and they're very vulnerable things. And so every time you create a new project, you're signing yourself up for that. I think that's probably the most intimidating, most difficult part about making new music.
Two little bits that I'll add that Luke alluded to. One is like, Luke's a starter and I'm a finisher. So it's actually really helpful, because he loves the beginning and I hate the beginning, and I love the end, and he's kind of like, and then secondly, for us, speaking of like other voices, we try and get as small as possible. You just have just a few people that you trust, because ideas are so vulnerable. Creativity is so vulnerable, and you don't want to invite the wrong people in at the wrong time. So those are two other little bits that are really helpful for us. Yeah, good question.
What's your favorite song?
Our song, Amanda? Or, okay, our song. It's a very self-indulgent question. I like it. Gee whiz. It depends. I'll give you a 3-for-1 answer. So there's I think Luke has a song that's probably specific to him. That's his favorite song. I would dare say is Crave. It's one of the first songs he wrote. That's very much his sort of song. He wrote the bulk of it. And then there are songs that are very specific to me, like Control, which I really sort of champion that song. And it's very personal to me. But I'll answer it, so aside from that, I'll answer it on behalf of both of us. I think one of the songs that I'll give you two more. God Only Knows and Joy would be two songs that we're incredibly proud of for different reasons. God Only Knows, just because it really feels like it dealt with a real hard topic of mental health and suicide, and really hard things that people walk through in life. And then Joy, because it was sort of the answer to that in some ways. But both were really hard songs to write, particularly Joy was a very difficult song to kind of piece together. Try and toe that line between a song feeling sort of exciting, but joy is such a fluffy word, or can be, and yet at the same time it's such a serious word. And so trying to write a song that navigates that and doesn't feel hokey but doesn't take itself too seriously was very complicated. We rewrote the verse a bunch of times. Verses, rewrote the choruses a bunch of times. I'll give you a alternate verse 2 lyric. Amanda, is that okay? Yeah? It went like this. Oh, we'll keep on dancing, won't worry about the beat. And if you miss a step, we'll let the rhythm find our feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, stop. Twisting and turning and twisting and stop.
Yeah, that's a little weird, isn't it? Yeah. That's why we cut it.
How do you cope with the demands of touring and being away from your family?
Yeah, much better question than your husband's. But I'm just kidding.
Oh, Daniel, I'm so sorry. We both know who your favorite is now, man. I got you.
He doesn't even know anything about sports, so we'll connect after. No,
I know that there are 2 AFL Adelaide teams.
Now you do.
Hi. It says, welcome to Adelaide. What did you discover today in our fair city?
He discovered there's two AFL teams here, yeah?
Well, in fairness, everyone else came in yesterday, and like Luke mentioned, we were with his family, and so we got to have a little bit of R&R, and so we flew out this morning. We did get to fly over your great city this afternoon. That was great. And I got to study the hotel room this afternoon. It was really so we had that's the other thing, like once you get, this is pretty awesome, the moment we get to have at night, but we've since learned, actually the evangelist Billy Graham gave the country artist Johnny Cash some great advice. And Billy just said, man, in order to kind of be your best for your people, you just gotta, basically said, you gotta take a nap before you do a show. So we did our best to have a sleep this afternoon. And then we basically came straight here. So it's a bit of a shame because we come into all these incredible cities, honestly, like your city, and we're in Melbourne tomorrow. You just have to kind of go one to the next. So it's not a holiday for sure. But what we take is this moment, like the fact that there's going to be 3,500, 4,000 of you here tonight, and the fact that this one combination of people has never been together in the same room and will never be together in the same room again. And we get to have this moment and these songs and music and God, it's kind of brought us all together. It's just a profound thing. And so our big focus is making sure that, we have this moment. Sometimes we'll sneak out there and get a really good meal, and I hope we get to it.
Yeah, man, you missed the best tom kha soup I've ever had last night.
Oh, no.
It was amazing. Who are your musical heroes?
His big brother.
And musical heroes. What'd you say?
I said, isn't that sweet?
Yeah, it is sweet, man. It's nothing like, self-congratulating yourself. It really does something. Musical heroes, growing up, I think that you're always, I've had a lot of people think of like the influences as the key age is like high school, right? And it could be for some. I think of it more, the music that you're listening between the ages of 2 and 8 years old shapes your likes and interests, right? And so in that world or that realm, my dad was a concert promoter back here in Australia, and so he was bringing over Amy Grant, Whiteheart, Stryper, Carmen, David Meese, some of these types of bands. And so I'm not necessarily saying that they're my musical heroes, but I do think that they developed my ear or taste for melody and some of the other things. You're in a very weird mood today.
I know, I just had coffee. It's very intense coffee.
But for me, in high school, I did Switchfoot released a album called The Beautiful Letdown, and that was the very first time that I thought to myself, what if I could write a song like these? What if I could write music that is impacting me for other people like this music? And so, in some cases, heroes are interesting. Music becomes a little bit scientific for me at this point. I like to listen to music and then discover, why are they doing it this way? Or, what's going on with the rhythm? Or why does that melody, why do I remember it? What is it about that lyric? Those types of things. But rewinding back many years, that was the, Seal, early 90s, some of the, John Farnham, these are the types of people that we were listening to, and they have obviously had a big influence. Obviously Bono, but he's a little bit too obvious, you know what I mean? It's not very cool to be like, just love you too, Everybody does.
Joel, did you enjoy playing the role of King Herod's son in Journey to Bethlehem?
Oh, good question, Joel. And so,
of course he did. Are you kidding me?
For those of you who don't know, end of last year, Sony released a Christmas musical called Journey to Bethlehem. That ultimately circles around Mother Mary's journey to Bethlehem and the birth of Jesus. And it follows kind of, King Herod has sort of got a storyline in it, and his son Antipater, excuse me. Herod is played by Antonio Banderas. So to our generation, Jolene, it was, you know, Zorro. To the younger generation, Puss in Boots. And my wife actually got cast in the film first. She played Mary's sister. And then they shot in Spain. Midway through the production, they basically called and said, hey, we just cast Antonio. Would you consider, you know, coming on board to play his son? And once again, like Dolly, I was like, well, I just need to help the guy out, you know. And it was just remarkable. It was not without its highs and lows, because any film kind of has all of that. But to tell the greatest story, you know, the world's ever known. To do with, you know, to tell the story with my wife. It was interesting because we're never in the same scene together, but there's points where like it cuts from her to my character. So we joke that the sequel is going to be the love affair between Herod's son and Mother Mary's sister.
I could get very theologically very interesting.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Sarah asks, how have you kept your faith solid in the light of being famous?
Well, I don't really view myself as famous. I view myself...
Let me just correct something. Luke is famous. The other day, I walked through the airport, and no one said, one person said hi to me. I walked back and got Luke, and walked through the airport with Luke, and I got stopped 7 times. So it's a very apt question for Luke.
I've never seen my brother like this. This is going to be a fascinating night tonight, folks. Look, I think that it depends on how you view yourself, right? I mean, the truth is it's always a journey, right? A relationship is always ongoing. The relationship that I have with my wife, I check in with her almost constantly, right? So then my relationship with Jesus should be relatively the same. We check in on each other, you know, and you have an ongoing journey, right? And I think that for anybody that's here, pretty much everybody that's sitting in this room has an expertise in something. There's something about what you guys do in your workplace that you are better than most anybody else at whatever that one field is. Where did that gift come from? Did that gift come from the fact that you just were born into the family that you were born into, or did that gift come, you know, or did you just try really hard? You know, who gave you the brain that you have to be excellent at it? So I think for us, it's like, man, I was a kid that learned. I sung songs in the shower growing up, you know, just like anybody else. You know, then I started to sing in church a little bit. I didn't think that I would be doing what we're doing here, but I wrote in my journal, you know, God, if you could use my life, then I want you to take it. And in some cases, the moment that I started in music, my life got really complex. You know, I got really sick early on, and my wife and I walked through a season that was really challenging for her health-wise. I nearly lost my son to a tragic SIDS accident. I've had vocal cord surgery. I've had all sorts of strange things happen. And my sister came to me once and she said, you know, Luke, how do you answer this one? You know, there was another big thing that had happened, and she said, you know, you've just had it pretty tough for the last little while. You know, how do you answer this one? And I said, you know, Beck, I've been given the privilege of a little bit of struggle in my life. Because every time that I have a little bit of struggle, I get to see the trail of God's faithfulness in my life. And so for me, I'm not no more special than anybody. I'm a sinner. I'm a father. You know, I'm a very regular, normal human being, just trying to be faithful with the things that God's given me. You know, and so it's always an ongoing journey. And I'm grateful, just like for you guys, it's always an ongoing journey. And I try to, you know, put my faith to paper, not pen to paper, every day.
Guys, thanks for your thoughtful questions. Thanks for putting up with us. Daniel, see you later.
Even in the valley of the shadow of death, I can take rest, cause the living God is living in my chest. Every day I wake up feeling blessed, and even if I don't, I see it as a test. Cause I was lost until you found me. Now I know you're all around me.